And welcome back to Kings of Influence.
What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday. It's noon. That means it's Kings of Influence. Welcome to the kingdom. I'm half your host, Epic Lloyd.
And I'm the other half of your host, Ray William Johnson, baby.
We are the podcast, the live cast that talks about the internet outrage of the week, and we're the only podcast that has me and Ray talking about
Pretty
it.
much the
very
only
unique.
one. Zach, can you flip on that light? The light got bad really quick.
Oh, yeah.
Get a little lighting issue. So, yeah, man, we got a really good show today. We're talking about a man who legally tried to change his age from 69 to 49.
Yeah.
We got two Jewish women who claim they were denied service in a New York restaurant due to their Make America Great Again hats.
Oh, no.
We got a YouTuber banned for punching a woman.
What?
In a video game.
What?
We got Antifa. An Antifa mob shows up to Tucker Carlson's house.
What?
We got a bunch of high schoolers from Wisconsin in trouble because they threw up a Nazi salute.
Not funny.
And then we got Victoria's Secret upset a lot of people today because they implied that they were rejecting trans women. So it's going to be a big episode.
Oh, man, it's a big episode. We have
How do you get those texts again, Lloyd?
Yeah, we got a couple of housekeeping things to do before we get started. So if you, YouTube's a big place. You don't always get notifications about when we're going live. So if you'd like to get a direct text from Ray and I, please text the word KINGS to 43506. Once again, I sound like a salesperson.
I know.
Once again, you could get a direct text from me and Ray about when we're going live if you text KINGS to 43506, and you'll get one text a week. Only one. No annoying. We're not going to ask you to vote or anything like that. Just one text a week, and it'll just let you know when we're about to go live. And yeah, we're growing. You guys are still in the under 10K club, but we're fast approaching that 10K.
Yeah.
10K.
Woo! Not bad.
I know. I do want to make two quick announcements.
Go for it.
Before we start, and I won't take too long. One thing, if you haven't watched the new Adam Sandler Netflix special, it's awesome. And my comedy club at around the 7-minute point gets featured in the special, which is so dope. So I wanted to give a plug. And secondly, on a sort of a more somber note, just got to acknowledge the passing of Stan Lee this week. Rest in peace, Stan Lee. You were a hero of mine. You were here, I'm sure, to Ray's.
Yeah.
So just wanted to acknowledge that and say thanks for everything, Ray, and good wishes to the family and all that stuff. And
Excelsior.
And there it is. Excelsior. There it is.
I still don't know what that means, but he was a great guy.
Yeah, he was a solid dude. Solid. He was one of my favorite characters to play.
So, so let's just sit here in silence. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think that's what you guys want, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Just a little silence. So getting back to last week, I told you that I was finally going to buy a house.
Oh, yeah.
I put a bid on a house and they accepted the offer.
You did?
And we're not out of escrow yet and we haven't got our inspections. Apparently inspections are a thing.
Hey, dude, you want to make sure to get that inspected.
Yeah.
It's like your dick. You want to make sure that shit is all good. There's like no ants in there or anything like that.
Is that how you're supposed to do with your your junk?
Well, that's what my doctor said.
Okay.
Is that not for everybody?
You have a doctor? I got to get a doctor? I'm way behind on this.
I know.
I don't know if people want to hear me talk about buying a house. It's a hell of an experience, though.
Yeah.
But I don't want this to become the dad cast or anything like that.
No, but I feel like it's a life moment, and people, it's nice. I think it's good. Congrats.
It's a way bigger life moment than I had expected.
It's a big deal.
I thought, it was like when you go and buy a car or something.
Yeah.
You just, throw the money down and drive off with your car, or you give them all the information and you get a loan and you drive off with your car, and it's not like that at all.
No.
It's massive.
You own land. They were giving that shit away back in like the 17 and 1800s, but now you gotta.
Oh well, they were taking it.
Yeah, for sure. They were giving it away and they didn't own it.
They were just taking it. But yeah, no, you gotta go jump through all kinds of hoops now because of the housing crisis.
Yeah.
Earlier in the decade, so it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, congrats, dude.
Well, it hasn't closed yet. It hasn't closed yet, but I will
crossed.
keep everyone updated. I know Kelly's really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
so. What's your address?
You become that'll be public, I'm sure. That'll be public. But yeah, you'll have to come through. It's a great house. Yeah. All you guys will have to come through.
Yeah,
it's
guys,
a great
come on
house.
over. Super big party.
Come through and swim in my pool.
Ray's got a pool.
I got a little pool. It's cool.
A cool little pool.
I mean, and it's in the ground. It's not.
I know. I have a baby pool sitting on my trash over there because my niece and nephew came over and we got a baby pool from our neighbors. And I was like, okay, you can have your pool back there. Like, can you get rid of it? Very hard to throw away a baby pool, by the way. I tried putting it out in the trash. The trash guy's like, what are you, nuts? We're not going to just take. And I was like, maybe someone will take it like an old bureau, like they just take a couch. It's like the most no one takes your pool. I got to melt that thing or bury it or something.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they put that on you. Oh yeah, could you just get rid of that?
Well, I think I'm just waiting for somebody to ask me to borrow it, and then I'm just gonna give it.
Oh
to
yeah,
them.
it'll be passed along. It's like the ring in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You can't just throw it away. Like you gotta march that to the mountain and toss it in the lava, or it's just gonna keep following you around.
It's gonna be a very depressing movie.
Yeah, no kidding, dude.
Well, let's get into it. What do we got? We got it. I gotta put my hood back on. It's almost a little chilly in here.
Oh yeah, right. Well, it's getting that time. It's getting that time of year in California.
I love it.
So we got this guy who legally tried to change his age.
To how old?
Because he's 69 years old.
Hey.
And he wants to change it to 49. Because apparently that helps him on Tinder. I couldn't make this guy up. He's from the Netherlands. He's a Dutch guy. His name is Emil Ratelband. I hope I said
Ratelband?
that. Ratelband.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings.
He's a Ratelband. He's a motivational speaker and positivity guru.
Oh man.
I got a little footage of him because I want you to see sort of what he looks like.
Okay.
Because part of what he's claiming is that he looks 49 years old. And that's going to help him. So what he's saying isn't that important. I just want you to see how he looks.
And you want to change in a man.
You can't change
that's
your
him.
age. You just can't change your age.
No, but that's your belief.
Why don't you just celebrate the fact that you are 69 and
always
everybody
did.
thinks you're
I
younger?
always did, but I look at the
People can be
future.
pleasantly
Look at the
surprised.
future. Look at the future. So we have a huge problem. Except the government says us. So 12% of the people in Holland, in Europe, are more than 60 years old. In 20 years, more than 35% of the people will be more older than 60 years. So if everybody can choose his own age, he has the decision to work as long as he likes. He can do whatever he likes.
And you think it's going to help you with women, this, right?
Well, I'm not that good looking, but the woman never asked my age. But when I'm
Why
on
would you
Tinder,
want to change it then?
Yeah,
I
and
don't
anyway,
say- I don't want
so
Yeah.
that's him on Good Morning Britain, and props to those hosts, Piers Morgan and the other young lady, for giving him, for really pressing him on that,
Right.
and not being like, all right, buddy, listen.
Yeah. Come on,
Listen.
you crunchy. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. What can I change my age to 21 if I'm 8 and I want to go buy booze?
I would think so. I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would
want
hope
to
that
buy
would be
smokes. I want to dodge the draft, so I'm going to change my name to 17 permanently.
I would hope that would be your 18-year-old goal. Well, so this guy says he says age is fluid. All right.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree.
And he says that he is trans age.
Oh God.
So he's co-opting the transgender movement, which I suppose there is an argument to be made, which he does make this argument. Like, look, if you can change your gender, then you can also change your age. And he has also offered to give up his 1,200 euro a month pension that he gets because he's that age in the Netherlands. He said he'll totally give that up.
You can't change your age. I have to agree with this girl. Like, you can change how you feel about your age, but it's literally a fact. Like, there's no perception about it.
Right.
Like, you can't change. Like, sure, you could change your name. Let's count it in days. Or, oh, great, you're 69. Let's just say you're 6 decades. Fine. Like, but we're literally talking about math.
We're just gonna switch it to dog years.
Yeah, sure. Great, dude. How old are you? Dog years. But, like, don't try and tell me that you can change the freaking makeup of space and time.
Right.
And just call yourself a different age. That's ridiculous.
I mean, we pretty much have one way of measuring time and one way of measuring age, which is like, what is your birthday? And you add the days up. Yes, you can't alter time. Now, when it comes to things like gender, I mean, if you really want to get in the weeds about it, I think a broad way to look at it is, people would argue you can't change your sex, which is different from gender, because gender is social. Sex is
right.
Again, broad strokes. Sex is whether you have a dick, and gender is whether you're wearing a dress, right?
Say that again.
So sex and gender are not the same thing, although they are sort of cross-related. And painting broad strokes, a way to describe it is sex is if you have a dick, and gender is whether or not you're wearing a dress.
With a dick?
No.
Oh.
No.
'Cause
One
that's
is
different.
social, one is physical. One has to do with your
What
chromosomes.
you, okay,
Right?
great.
Right? One is biological, one is more social. Again, very broad strokes because there
Yes.
is some overlap there. But that's one way to look at it. And that's what makes people who say I identify as, a male or a female or whatever, they're targeting the gender portion of it. And if you really want to get technical, when they are attempting to change their sex, they can have, operation on their reproductive organs. They can take hormones and all these things, and you can't really change your sex, but you can get really, really close.
Yeah.
Depending on how you measure sex. But you can't. What you can't do is you can't alter time.
You can't alter time
at all.
I mean, that's what happens. Like, that's what happens when you're able to, and God love it, great. And I think that sex and gender is a completely different topic, although related to this.
Well, he makes that argument. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same argument about like same-sex marriage. It's like, what else are you gonna do? Get married to your dog next? It's like, no, asshole.
Maybe. Oh.
It's like, no.
Oh.
But I just, this is too far for me. It's gone too far. The
Yeah.
age thing is too much, man. It's too much. Like, I get you're feeling old. I get people treat older people. I mean, I feel old, man. I hate that feeling. I hate the feeling of feeling like I feel 22 in my mind, but I'm 23 in real life. It's horrible. Right?
Yeah, right?
It's horrible.
Always a year off.
But no, I mean, but that's just what people go through. That's like being like, I don't die. I don't identify as dying.
I knew a guy who said that once.
Yeah? I just transition.
He did.
Yeah, he's dead.
He did.
Tell me, what does it mean if I drink coffee out of a dog mom cup?
You're trans species?
Mm,
I don't know.
I'm wrong twice.
Yeah, exactly. You're wrong twice. Yeah, I think so. The fact that he's targeting a lot of things, and the fact that he is targeting Tinder and dating,
I mean, well,
that's a problem for me.
Not to interrupt you. Did they just minimalize it to be a Tinder thing? Because I could see that happening very easily. Or is that his actual motivation?
That is part of his motivation because I've heard him say it, but I see the news outlets like seizing on that part because it is
Right.
the most interesting part. That's the part I want to seize on.
Well, it's the
Which is
most
like you're
petty
doing this
part.
to
It's
date.
the most petty part.
Yeah.
It's the most petty part, but I don't know if it's the most interesting part. I think it's definitely like, yeah, he doesn't want to say he's 69 years old because then he can't have a chance with the hot anchor lady, that he's talking to.
Right.
And I'm sure she's smart and everything, but she's also very hot.
I like how you got nervous and cleaned that. No, she has other qualities too.
Retreat. But I think that outside of that, if he, what would be interesting to me and what would carry a lot more weight is employment and competing in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because that I feel like is very legit. The hiring someone who's 69 years old comes with a whole host of
Yes.
preloaded notions about everything from how much you have to pay that person because what kind of a family do they have to support to
Yeah.
their boss is going to be most likely decades younger than them, and how is that power thing going to be? And a lot of times I feel like places will just avoid that problem by hiring people younger.
They will. A friend of a friend just went through that. I don't want to call her out, but she owns a small business, and she in the hiring process she discovered that she has to pay for these employees' health care.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that led her to do was she immediately discovered, people above a certain age cost a lot more
For sure.
in terms of healthcare just because they're older. And it nudged her a little bit into ageism in terms of the hiring process because she's I can't afford to pay. For
You can be sunshine and roses all day long, but the fact is that's expensive.
Yes.
It's like, what do you, and it sucks that the system is like that. But that's the way that it is of like, if you have someone who's got 2 children and you have to pay for their health care versus you have someone who's 25 and healthy, non-smoker. And even you can even go to so much as to say a male, because I believe healthcare is cheaper for men than it is for women.
Really? What's that?
Yeah, because there's no reproductive stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Not in the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So that sucks that it's like that, but that's true, man. And then you multiply if you're a big company, right? Like you got thousands of employees. Like that becomes a real factor. And also retirement and how soon you have to pay out people's retirement. And also retirement plans have probably changed in the last couple of years
Yeah.
too. So I mean, I get that, I get that, but you still can't change your age. You just need to fight for the other things to change.
I don't like his mentality on the dating aspect of it. Because he is suggesting that if he changes his age, fewer women will discriminate against him in terms of the dating pool. But when you really think about it, dating is nothing but discrimination. It is personal discrimination. I don't want to date this person. I don't want to date this type of person because they do this thing, or I'm not attracted to this. Even, like, there is even a version of what we would call racism or xenophobia that is somewhat accepted in dating.
I think so. Yeah, it's like you have a type.
Yeah. Right. It's you have a type, and everyone who's not that type is excluded from your dating pool. And we all seem to accept that.
And prejudged too. Like, it's the only time you can be like, you know what? I don't like short guys.
Right.
Or I don't like bald guys.
Yep.
And it's fine. Or like, I don't like, fat people or whatever. You're like,
and it's just I think there's a way to
my
go
attraction.
about it.
I'm just attracted.
Nor would I ever suggest anyone, like, if someone came up to me and they said, "Hey Ray, I don't like mechanics by any means. I think they're grease monkeys and they're awful and they talk like sailors and it's silly and all this stuff." And she said, "But I'm going to try to date this one mechanic because I feel like I'm discriminating."
Right.
I would say, don't date that mechanic.
Yeah.
You're misleading him and you're misleading yourself.
Right.
Now, if it comes between this other dating pool you have of dating constantly unhealthy types of guys, and you want to now try a mechanic because it might get you somewhere else, I'd be like, all right, give it a shot.
Yeah, for that reason.
Yeah, but in general, don't go outside of who or what you're attracted to because...
But wouldn't you say, though, that, like, by that argument, if the guy's changing his name because a woman is just like, anybody over this number, I'm just excluding, and he can now change that number to be included, I think that, like, sure, that makes him get to date more chicks, but, like, when does it come out when he was actually born, and how does that go down? Like, what's that conversation? So say it works out with him and the woman, and they're together for years, right?
Yeah.
Or days or seconds, whatever they want to count it. But then, like, obviously she's gonna find out one way or the other, right? Or maybe not.
Well, yeah, he's on TV talking about it.
Right?
So there is
Stupid.
that.
Man.
So there is that. Now, I'm not convinced that this is even sincere. Like, I'm thinking this guy might be trying to sell books, or because he is like a positivity motivational speaker.
I mean, he just lost me as what do you?
I know it goes against
totally
all of
me.
the whole self-acceptance positivity speech.
Yeah.
I don't care how mentally old you are. When was your damn birthday?
Yeah. Christ's sake.
Let's
hey,
do
we've
the
been
math.
dating for 3 years now. It hasn't been 3 years. Let's make it 2 days.
I'm transiversary.
Yeah. Oh God.
Off the dome. Yeah, I don't know what this guy.
Man.
I don't know what this guy's
This guy's
on. But
angling for Jester of the Week early.
also, if you're going to change your age, go back to a better decade.
Right?
Go back to your 20s, your
Right?
30s.
Right? If he wasn't trying to change his, like, if he was only changing it by 20 years, that's shady. That means, like, he doesn't really buy his own concept. He's just
Right.
trying to buy a couple more years on the dating pool.
Right.
Shady. This is
Go
shady.
back to high school.
Yeah.
What's up, fellow teenagers?
I know. I dare you. Hang out in high school. Jeez,
That would be
Louise.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, my, this guy. So what do you guys think out there in listener land? What do you think of being able to change your age? I know we just made this whole argument, and they're probably all convinced, but I like to get pushback sometimes on that stuff.
I mean, how many candles do you put on the damn cake?
You'd have to ask the person.
Yeah.
How are you identifying as?
How old do you
identifying today?
identify as? How old do you identify as?
How old do you identify?
Oh, gosh.
I'm open to changing my mentality on that if we invent a time machine.
Well, I'm open to even
But we
changing.
haven't.
I'm open to changing, like, how old do you feel? Like, or let's just stop counting. I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
Let's just stop counting and because I don't want to be old either. It just seems ridiculous to have that sort of. It's misleading. It's a little dishonest, and then it's very weird to go on TV and talk about it.
Yeah. Like, that is the hill he dies on. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Like, come on, man. Just
yeah.
grow old gracefully. We all got to do it.
Yeah.
You can't get around it. It
all
also
done.
doesn't change. Yeah, it doesn't change when you die.
How much money you want to put on he's recently divorced?
Oh, you're talking about this is his late life crisis?
Oh, come
he must
on,
turn his
dude.
late life crisis into a midlife crisis?
He's recently divorced.
Has
hands
to.
down. Hands down.
Well, he's on a dating app, and he's 69 years old on Tinder. So
Right.
I wonder how that works. How does Tinder work
As a
when you're
senior?
a senior
Or a high schooler.
Yeah, they should invent a dating app just for seniors. I bet that exists, and we should call it Geezer.
Geez.
Why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but yeah, how does that? Are there different rules? Are they?
I don't know. You have to swipe, but it's like a more gentle swipe because you're. I don't know. This is,
Gentle swipe.
it's a gentle swipe.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Lord.
mean, I can't. It has completely changed the game. You've experienced it. I never have. We've talked about this before. I have no idea.
What, dating apps?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's complete.
I have
Absolutely.
no idea how it works.
Well, that's why.
Well, I heard today though on the radio that people are having less sex overall.
Yes,
But there's still Tinder.
The generation below us.
Yeah.
So not us.
We're Gen Xers.
We've been humping since
We've been humping.
we've been humping. I mean, not me and you, but
since
separately.
the year identified as 1977.
We've been humping at the same rate
Yeah.
because we start at. It's like you start out at that rate and you finish at that rate. You know what I mean? The generation and the generation above us is, they're still at their
Baby
rate
boomers.
of humping.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
I'm like on the cusp of millennial, so I am and baby boomer or no
Well,
and Gen Xer. So I am part of my own problem. But
I just don't know how you have Tinder and all these dating apps when you can make sex so casual, but
Mhm.
still people are. I think it is a result of the internet and just being disconnected from human. People would just rather look at porn and like do their thing.
So they're also dating less. They're looking at more porn, and it has become more of a hookup culture. If that makes sense,
Right, but if it was a hookup culture, you would think that. So what you're saying is paired couples have more sex than random hookups, even if people are hooking up more. If you're a couple, you're together all the time and getting it on the regular more.
No, I'm saying that the millennial generation and lower are having less actual sex than the generations above them, although they are also dating less, like going out on dates. But what has replaced both sex and dating is this sort of hookup culture. Like we're casually making out, or we're casually doing other things. We're not really dating. We're not necessarily having a ton of sex.
Oh wow. And
Yeah.
okay. So because sex probably carries with it, at least for some people, a certain level of gravity in terms of where our relationship is at.
Yeah, and I think there's a bit of not socialism, but a bit of being social attached to the sex as well,
Right.
because that generation is also less social, depending on how you define social. They use social media a lot more, but they're less social face to face.
Dang. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't want the comments to get dirty or anything, but like, like what is it?
I'll bang
for those
all the
of you,
time.
here's a good question for those of you out there, and this is probably a small group of you, but for those of you out there who met your spouse or whatever when there was no dating sites, but then maybe broke up or got divorced or whatever, then went back into the dating pool when there was Tinder and things. And this is not what I'm going to do, by the way, just FYI. But what was that like? What was it like going from a world where there was no Tinder to a world where there is now? So, discuss.
Well, this story is part of why I think these dating apps are actually a really, really good thing. Because while they do perpetuate hookup culture, you also have a 69-year-old man
Who can meet
who
people.
has access to a dating pool.
Yeah.
At his fingertips, which is great, which is not something that that generation has had before in quite the same way. None of us have had that.
Yeah, and I also feel like there's the argument of like, well, you just meet somebody in a bar. Like, okay, then do that. You can still do that. It's not like you can't like go up to somebody and talk to them in a bar. But there's certainly a nice, like you wouldn't, like say you move to a new city or something like that, or you, I don't know, are in another country or something for the first time. That like I feel like there is a way to. I do know a couple of people who got married off of their Tinder dates.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I do. Very
like,
close friends. of
right
mine.
away?
Yeah.
Like no second date? I'm closing the app?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying the first person they met on Tinder
Oh yeah.
is their wife now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of what, those apps are for.
Yeah.
You meet people for certain kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
Be it hookup or marriage or whatever.
Just DTF.
or just you up.
You up.
You up, girl.
All right. If you guys haven't been following along, welcome to the show. We're talking all kinds of stuff. If you want to get a text from us once a week about the show, text Kings to 43506. We'll tell you when we're going live. What's next on the agenda?
So these two Jewish women, they go to this New York restaurant called Carmine's, and they claim that they were denied service due to their MAGA hats. And I got some nice, they, of course, recorded some stuff that we can look at. This will be fun. Oh, these women.
Carmen's in New York City, wearing my Make America Great Again shirt and hat. We originally walked inside and asked for a table for two, and he said that the wait was 2 hours because of our hats. Then when we walked in, as you can see from the video, he completely avoided us, but he had a table prior to for just a random incomer. So
we got turned down as two Jewish women.
Two Jewish women just got
kicked
turned
out
down
of a restaurant in New York.
So
Why does it matter that
good
they're
job,
Jewish?
that.
It doesn't.
Oh.
I mean, well, that's the picture they're painting. They are saying that they went into Carmine's, not Carmen's, which would suggest that they're tourists because they called it the wrong name. They went into Carmine's, which is a nice, well-known Italian restaurant in New York City, and they were told, yeah, it's going to be like a 2-hour wait. And what they claim is that they were discriminated against because they were wearing MAGA hats, and I guess because they're Jewish and probably because they're women, because they keep emphasizing those two things.
I can't imagine it's because they're Jewish.
Well, you can't tell they're Jewish by looking, like they're not wearing a yarmulke and spinning a dreidel.
No.
They,
women wouldn't be wearing a yarmulke anyway. But
okay, don't kill my metaphor. but that's my point. My point is you wouldn't know they were Jewish by looking at them.
Right. I just think it doesn't. I feel like their point is, hey, Jewish people are a minority in the country, but we still wear the MAGA hat. So there's some sort of excuse. I don't know. That's what I think. I think that's what they're alluding to is like, hey, Jewish people like Trump too. And that's why they said that. And I don't like it. I understand it. I don't like it. I don't like their hats. I don't like their shirts, but I think you got to give them a table, man. I don't think it's any different. I mean, it's your restaurant. You can do whatever you want. You can. But that also means that if someone comes in that's a man that's dressed like a woman, you can also say, I don't seat you here.
Well,
and it's the same thing like the cake, man. You have to do shit that you don't like when you don't like to do it. Like, you have to stand up for your morals when they're harder for you.
You talking about the baker baking the cake?
Yeah.
For the gay couple?
Yeah.
So Laura Ingraham tweeted this video, and a couple of other conservative pundits sort of as some example of them being discriminated against. And so Carmine's actually tweeted, I didn't know Carmine's had a Twitter, but they tweeted about it and said, look, I'm paraphrasing, but look, we don't discriminate against people because of their political beliefs. There was a 2-hour wait because it was a Saturday, and they didn't have reservations.
Oh, come on. Really? I mean, then that's dumb that they would say that.
I know. Well, it's also the simplest explanation.
Yeah.
Which is why I believe it. Like, yeah, I've worked in so many restaurants.
Yeah. They didn't happen to mention that.
No, they didn't mention that. They didn't mention that it was a Saturday at a New York City restaurant that's in Times Square.
Yeah.
Owned by, it's Jewish owned.
All right.
By the way.
What a bunch of ridiculous girls, man. Come on, stupid. They just want to drum up. That's like when you the video of the guys getting kicked off the plane. They want to like drum up some like drama. I mean, of course. Now I feel dumb for getting upset about it.
Maybe I should have told you the second part first.
Shit.
Yeah, I think that they are trying to drum up drama, which is there's something with wearing that much MAGA stuff.
Yes.
That is going to set people off, especially in like New York City. That makes me think maybe you were kind of looking for the drama. You're allowed to wear whatever you want, but maybe you were not asking for it, but looking for it. You had your eyes open for it, and you kind of saw what you wanted to see, because when you have a hammer, every problem seems like a nail.
Yeah.
When you're looking for drama, then every reaction you get is going to feel like drama. Even when a restaurant that normally makes people wait 2 hours on a Saturday when you don't have a reservation
Yeah.
is like, look,
And being
the wait's 2
ignored,
hours.
being ignored by a maitre d' in downtown Manhattan is nothing
No,
new.
no,
It's nothing new.
that's what makes me think they're just tourists and
Yeah.
they don't know how it works.
Yeah, and maybe because they're young and pretty, they think that they should immediately get sat right away or something like that, or but I think maybe it's because exactly what you said. I think maybe they were hoping they could make a video out of it,
Right.
and seeing what would happen, because it seemed like they were pretty prepared to make that video right away. Did they respond to Carmine's?
Not that I'm aware of. The
No?
story's pretty fresh from
Yeah.
what I saw. So I don't know what they would say unless the maitre d' or one of the hostesses or hosts said something that would suggest that he was discriminating against them for their MAGA. But they said they were thrown out because of their hats. They're pretty clear about
in New
it.
York City, wearing my Make America Great Again shirt and hat. We originally walked inside and asked for a table for two, and he said that the wait was 2 hours because of our hats.
Right,
then when we
Because of
walked
your
in-
hats.
The wait was 2 hours because of their hats.
Well, either that's a lie.
Right. Or that's just something they projected onto the situation. I just can't imagine that maitre d' was like,
Well,
that
'cause she
wait is
said-
2 hours
because
because
she's-
of your hat.
She said somebody else walked in right behind them.
Right.
Without will you play more without a reservation?
Yeah, it starts from the
Carmen's
beginning, but
in
yeah,
New York City,
that's kind of what she said.
Wearing my Make America Great Again shirt and hat. We originally walked inside and asked for a table for two, and he said that the wait was 2 hours because of our hats. Then when we walked in, as you can see from the video, he completely avoided us, but he had a table prior to for just a random incomer.
So we got turned down as two Jewish women.
Two
A
Jewish
random
women.
what? A random newcomer?
Yeah. Was there another video that went along that she said? As you can see from
I
the
looked
video?
for another video because she does reference some other video or something, but I didn't see it. And this was the one that was making the rounds. But there's no way for her to know that the other
person didn't have
people
a
were
reservation.
off the street. Yeah, and
She very well may have never worked in a restaurant and have no idea how that.
there's no way
that
those
goes.
ladies have ever worked in a restaurant. There's no way, because if you've worked in a restaurant, you know that the seating situation can get pretty hectic and frustrating.
Yeah.
And you feel like people come in after you and get a table, and sometimes that is the case.
Yeah, because they've either called ahead or
Right.
whether even
Because they called ahead, or they have, maybe it's a big party. It's a party of like 10, and they're like, we only have one
big
table
You can't
that's
just
for
sit.
10, and we have to seat this party of 10 there, not this two top
Mhm.
of MAGA hat ladies, because that's our only place to seat them. Yeah, I mean, that happens in restaurants all the time.
I mean, yeah. If they lied about it, if Carmine's was like, just say it was busy, that would be. I would kind of love that.
Why?
Just because the place is called Carmine's. Just
because it sounds pretentious?
Hey, just it was Saturday. Just tell them it was busy. But I think that if the guy literally said to her, as she claims, "Hey, we don't like those hats in here. It's 2 hours." That's that. Let's just assume that's what happened.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
No, that's not cool.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't like the hats. I don't like that there's freaking MAGA Legos now that make you build the wall, and that makes it pretty hard not to discriminate against someone wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Agrees that build a wall Legos are awesome. That's tough to get behind. You know what I mean? That's tough to want to let people into my restaurant where I work really hard to make it fun for everybody, and I don't want to have a polarizing situation where I have different tables yelling at each other, and potentially people in the MAGA hat are going to be sitting next to a Mexican family who are here on vacation, and then you know what I mean? Like that makes it's a polarizing shirt, it's a polarizing situation, it's a polarizing president.
But the money's green.
But you still got to do it. You still got to let people. That's what it is. When the shit is hardest for you is when you have to do it,
I
or
agree.
else they're not morals.
I agree. No, So they're a private company. They can
do it.
They can essentially kick them out if they want, as some restaurants have done to Sarah Huckabee Sanders and others. I just don't think they should if that were the case.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing. How would you feel like if someone who was a liberal got kicked out of like a restaurant down in Alabama or something like that, you would be up in arms. That would be
Well, I'd be up in arms. I'm up in arms anytime someone gets kicked out of a restaurant for their political
views.
beliefs.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
agree.
I don't like that the country's there.
No one ever got kicked out of a restaurant because they supported George W. Bush.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like it's a new thing. It's this particular president, and I think everybody agrees that, he's a disruptive force.
He's a polarizing guy.
He's a disruptive
as you said.
force. Yeah. So I don't know if now that we've gone, my curiosity is, now that we've passed this benchmark, where do we go from here? Will it ever level out again? I think if you look at history, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
it will. I think people get tired of it.
And I think if you look at past presidents, we weren't alive when Grover Cleveland and I don't know, all these other presidents.
I had my age legally changed.
That was what we call a callback in the business.
Hey.
Allegedly. But I think there were probably presidents who were awful and just like scandalous, and then there were more level-headed people, and I think it'll right itself, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean Nixon and
But like
Hoover
Nixon and Trump are like, Trump would never resign.
Coolidge.
He would never resign.
I don't think so. No.
Nixon basically resigned because they impeached him. Like
they were going to impeach him. Yeah,
exactly. That will never happen again.
I don't think so.
I don't think. And I would say the same thing about Clinton. Like, I don't give a shit who he had sex with, but he lied under oath,
right,
as the president.
Right.
That's not cool, man.
Agreed.
So I don't think a president will ever be impeached again. I think they'll just kick it. I think they can kick that shit down the road long enough to get voted or elected or change, like, whatever position needs to be changed in whatever court or lawyer or table or swing set that needs to happen.
Yep.
And they will just never, ever admit to being wrong again. On that level.
So that's funny. I think Donald Trump will be impeached, although I don't know if he'd get voted out of office necessarily. But I think they will bring the hearing. I think that I just see that happening. They're already talking about investigating him. Not aside from the Mueller investigation. Now the Democrats have taken the House. They're already talking about investigating him and getting his tax returns and all these things. That stuff's going to lead to some kind of impeachment hearing at some point.
We'll see. I mean, I thought impeachment was when you actually got removed.
No. Impeachment is just the hearing. It's just the hearing.
It's just the hearing.
All I'm saying is there will be a hearing. I don't know if he'll be removed. Probably not.
Yeah.
It's hard to remove someone.
I would agree with that. I just don't think anybody will ever willingly leave again.
Resign?
Yeah. Like, think about that. Tapes, like, that feels so, like, small potatoes now.
Tapes of Nixon? Yeah.
Yeah, we got a guy who's, like, talking to Russia now. Like,
allegedly, no collusion.
Yeah, it's like, it's nuts, man.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If tapes came out of him colluding or talking to Russia or whatever, I also don't agree that he has that kind of personality where he would resign.
He would never admit.
I think
he would deny.
I think he'd skate by it. He would deny, or he would be like, "Why is collusion even illegal?"
Right.
It would be kind of one of those
challenge the definition of collusion.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It depends on what the definition of is.
Yeah, right.
And we've been there before.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! That's a good one. All right, so what do you guys think? Do you think these restaurant goers in their MAGA hats are full of shit? If you had a restaurant, would you kick someone out because they had extreme political beliefs of some sort? Because I don't think I would. I don't know, if the hooded Klan members came in, I'd kick them out.
I'd kick the Klan out.
Yeah, I'd be like, sorry guys.
That's where I think it is. I think that the MAGA slogan is starting to become associated with hate, and that's where I draw the line myself, because it's starting to become so polarizing and so nationalistic to an extent that people are associating that uniform with, like, almost like a Klan member. Not that extreme, but like, when you said Klan member, it made me think of that. Like, it stands for something.
It is. I don't know if it's fair to make that comparison of MAGA hats versus, a Klan hood. I think that's a little bit extreme.
I'm not making an analogy. I'm saying they're both uniforms, and the MAGA hat is trending that way. I think for some people, particularly people who are not white, it's starting to feel like an attack on them at such a level that anybody who's wearing that uniform thinks that way,
Yeah.
and therefore wants to do them harm in a way. You know what I mean? It's not.
You're saying that's what they perceive.
That's
it
what they
as.
perceive it as.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's necessarily accurate, but I think that's what it's being perceived as.
Well, that seems a little oversensitive to me. Like if someone sees, like I saw a MAGA hat and was like, I feel personally attacked.
Yeah. Well,
That's a little much.
I do know a lot of Trump supporters, and I don't hate them at all. But most of the ones that I know aren't trouncing around in Make America Great hats again. They realize there's flaws there, and they're like, this was the choice I was presented with. This is the choice I made.
Mm-hmm.
I did the checks and balances, and I can't fault the person for that. Especially if they're living in certain parts of the country and stuff. But people trouncing around in Make America Great Again hats when, those are the type of people who are also, marching on Charlottesville and things like that, then I can start to be like, yeah, it says something when you wear that.
I mean, it sucks when certain groups, like if you made a symbol, a hat or something like that, or a logo, and certain groups co-opt it for their negativity. That sucks.
Yeah.
You're like, man, that was my thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like the AOK thing we were saying the other day. That AOK thing is kind of not AOK anymore.
Well, we'll talk about that later in the show because I got some stuff to say about that.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
let's talk about this YouTuber who was banned for punching a feminist in a video game.
Uh-oh.
So that second part's really important.
In a video game?
In a video game.
And was banned from YouTube?
Yeah, he got his channel taken down. So this guy, Shirako Gaming, he was playing this game, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
Which I'm told is a great game. I've only played part 1 and it was good. I'm not
myself.
much of a gamer. But anyway, in Red Dead Redemption 2, there's a storyline which is apparently making an attempt to be historically accurate, which is the women's suffrage movement. So there are a lot of first generation feminists, first wave feminists in the game, and there's one in particular on a street corner that shouts her beliefs. And this guy decided to film himself punching her and taking her out in various ways. And I got to admit, the videos he made are pretty funny in a very dark way if you don't take them seriously. And I want you to see them because this is what YouTube reacted to. So there she is.
Meant to be the land of liberty?
What she says isn't that
But
important.
somehow I am not free to vote? Who says that? Look me in the eye and tell me I am not the equal of any man you ever met.
Whew.
Go! Get out of here!
No, she's not getting away. All right, anyway, and he hogties her and stuff. And then he made some other variations on that. Like he's got her hogtied, and he feeds her to an alligator here. Right, it gets pretty over the top and ridiculous. There's another one where he puts her on the train tracks, and a train runs over. Another one.
Oh, so you made like a compilation or something?
They're different. They're separate videos, but just a lot of him doing that same thing. There's one where he fed her to pigs.
Right. I've heard about this, that it's like a trend. Like, this is not just this one guy. This is a trend with this game.
Well, bringing up him because he got his channel removed for it.
Yeah.
Now, he appealed and later got it back, but it was bad enough. I think Vice got upset, the publication, and wrote some kind of story about it. And that got a lot of people turning against this dude. And I think he made a statement about it. I really can't remember.
Well,
stop smoking weed. He made some kind of statement about it, and apparently the comments were very toxic, but that could be said for any video on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you should. It's just such a slippery slope, Like it's a shitty thing to do. It's like, what does the guy expect? Like, you're not just like hitting random characters in the game. You're continually murdering the person in the game whose voice sounds like a man, by the way, which was weird to me. You're continually murdering the person in the game that is speaking up for women's rights. So like, what are you trying to say, dude? Like, what's your point?
I don't know. So for me, I don't want them to crack down on what we do in video games. I don't even play a lot of video games.
Well, let's be very clear. YouTube didn't do this because of morals. YouTube did this because of money. And that is
Go on.
Like advertisers don't want to advertise on that type of content, and advertisers want an easy way to advertise on YouTube. They want to be able to put their ads on a broad spectrum of videos very easily, and YouTube wants to make it easy that way. Like that's what YouTube is going to be. It's like ABC and NBC. It's like the mainstream video on demand service.
So why not demonetize his videos or his channel? Why delete him?
Because it's easier. It's easier just to sort of systematically start removing that stuff from your site so you can monetize more and you can advertise more broadly and with less clicks and less filters.
Right.
You know, it's like it's money driven. Like I have to believe that. You know, I love Google, I love YouTube, but like I think it's because of these ads. I think it's because probably he was trying to monetize the thing, and like because you don't get like and also probably because he got flagged. Probably
those
a lot
went
of people
really viral for this guy too.
So probably a lot of people flagged them as like violence and stuff. And if you get enough flags,
yeah,
that's bad. It's just a bad look. Like there was that whole adpocalypse a couple of years where like YouTube lost billions of dollars because major brands are walking away from YouTube because they don't want to advertise in places that support certain things. And even if that video is not monetized, YouTube's saying it's okay for you to put this on our platform. And like, you know, the Shriners, you know, doesn't want to be associated, or Ford or any of these companies don't want to be associated with that at all. So they distance themselves from that. So, you know.
Well, maybe the titles of the videos didn't help because the first one was titled something like "Punching an Annoying Feminist."
Yeah.
And the second one was like feeding an annoying feminist to an alligator.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know it's dark, but I found that funny. Like it's so over the top. I'm just going to feed her to think. Now, I don't know if the guy really has problems with feminism or anything like that. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I really think video games are a fantasy world.
Sure, it's like Westworld, man. It's like it's just
even
like
less
Westworld.
so, even less so than Westworld. I think they're a fantasy world, and I think people sort of go to them because you can do the bad things. You can punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
And that's an incredibly violent game, regardless of whether he made those videos or not.
Yeah, you're murdering people that's like
you murder hundreds of people in that game.
Yeah, it's like Grand Theft Auto. Like you're murdering people left and right, but you know.
Punch one hooker and everyone gets all bent out of shape.
I think it just is alarming when what if that guy went and hurt a person in real life later, and then they went back and they looked at those videos and they're like, hey man, the writing was right here on the wall. Like you didn't even take a look at this?
Yeah. Well, they always find that stuff in retrospect. Always. Like every mass shooter, they always go back and scrub through his entire timeline of social media, and they're like, look, in the 4th grade, he said that when he was playing basketball that night, he was killing it.
Yeah.
And look at this. 9 years later, he's a killer.
Yeah. Well, but this guy's got millions of views. So they go back and they look at it and it's got millions of views. And you go, hey, man, it wasn't buried or anything. There's millions of views here. He's feeding these people to alligators. And then he fed a person to an alligator.
Yeah. And sometimes I think, you know, it's one of those situations where when they look back to these people's social media and their history, they sort of find what they're looking for.
Yeah.
They sort of go, well, this guy shut up a college cafeteria, and he has, look, a 3-year history of playing Grand Theft Auto and listening to 90s death metal.
Yeah.
Therefore,
he's going to shoot
Grand
somebody.
Theft Auto and 90s death metal must have contributed to this guy's behavior.
Well, I mean, I don't think they should take his channel down. I think the guy should just go see help. I think they should. I think they should just get him a therapist or something. Like what did the guy say? What was his response?
He said that he's not anti-feminist, that he something like that, and that he can't really speak for what the terrible things that people were saying in the comments. Which I agree with him on that second part. People are going to say crazy stuff in the comments regardless of what the video is.
Yeah,
you could have an anti-cancer.
I mean, you could have a podcast.
PSA, right? Yeah, podcast. You could have an anti-cancer PSA.
Yeah.
And comments would be like, yo, what do you have against cancer, bro?
Dude.
What did cancer ever do to you?
The comments are I mean, we say Twitter is the cesspool. I feel like comments are the cesspool. Like, the only thing that makes it easy to read comments is the good comments because they're so nice, a lot of them. Because you do get some really shitty things that people want to say to you. I don't know what it is. If people just want to get the attention, or if they feel like there's a distance, like a digital emotional wall is between people. But geez, if some people are really that way, you're like, buddy, I can see why I can see why it's 3:30 on a Friday and you're commenting on YouTube videos. Like, really, good Lord.
I like to believe that deep down, they're just terrible people.
It's easier that way.
I mean, it's a direct line.
We're not talking
to
about
the
you guys.
excuse.
We're not talking about you guys.
No, you guys are great.
Yeah.
It's a direct line to the causality of the entire thing. What do you think's wrong with these kids? I just think they're terrible.
Yeah.
I just think they're awful, awful human beings.
There are plenty of those in this world. That is the sad fact, dude. I will never be surprised.
Well-
Game over, man. It's a game over, man.
Well-
it's like someone posts something about like a charity for children with cancer, and people are like, just make more rap battles. Oh, God.
God.
What the hell, man?
What are you doing? Just make more rap
Yeah,
battles.
where's equals 3?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just people wanting, that's just people complaining.
Yeah, and it's
I see
tough
that
to
different
complain.
from like, being pro-cancer and saying really evil and awful things or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's just general complaining.
Yeah. And it's tough to be, it's tough. I say that jestingly, and it's tough to like really get annoyed because it's just somebody saying, hey, I love your stuff and I want more of it.
Right. And I don't know what to do other than complain.
Yeah. Or maybe this is the way that I show love, and maybe you'll think that this is good. And I do, I guess. But yeah, there are people out there who say some awful things just for the sake of saying it. And, I don't know what you do with those, but you got to deal with those people. But I don't think you can just delete their channels if you want to be huge. Because here's what's going to happen. Just like with Alex Jones and all these other people, some other platform, and if it hasn't, is going to pop up. Like I'm getting ads on my shit now for like the super right-wing video on demand service.
I've seen that. CCR TV or something?
Yeah, and it's that's going to pop up, man. And then that's just going to, because it's going to be an audience for it. And that's just the way a market will shift. It's going to shift to, and it's not the federal government that's shutting these things down, and that they shouldn't, of course. So you're basically creating your own monsters by pulling them down off your site and collecting them all in one place, and then they just get together, and that's what's going to happen.
But it's a monster you don't have to deal with.
Oh, yes, you do.
He can punch those feminists, just not on our site.
Well, no, because those people, then it's going to get more and more and more popular. I feel like it'll just grow and hope, I don't think it's ever appropriate to like punch anybody, but it is a video game, and it was written into the code of the damn video game, So.
Well, I mean, he got his channel back.
Yeah,
so,
that's good. That's
I guess it's good for him.
Yeah, hooray! You can go on punching.
You can
other
punch
people.
all the feminists you want now,
Yeah.
buddy. Who knows? Who knows if he's trying to make a statement with that, or if he's just being a T-roll.
A T-roll, a dumb dick.
A dumb dick. All right, this is pretty crazy.
Uh-oh, here we go.
So an Antifa mob.
A mob
of anti-fascists showed up late at night to Tucker Carlson's house. And they were knocking on his door, ringing his doorbell. They were chanting. And we got a little footage of it.
Oh, boy.
It's a good time. So it's hard to make out what they're saying.
Uh-huh.
And it's even hard to see the video. All you can really see is Tucker's door, but you can see him. Wow. We know where you sleep at night.
That's crazy, man. That's
That
scary
is
shit.
nuts. That
That's
is the
some scary
world we're
shit.
living in. I know.
I mean, it's not that hard to find somebody's address, I guess.
Yeah, well, no, it's not, but that's not the part I'm worried about. Part I'm worried about is a group of people with a political agenda showed up in a threatening way. And in fact, if you listen to the footage,
Were they just
one of them
protesting?
mentioned so according to him, they broke his door somehow, part of his door, his front door. They mentioned a mail bomb, but it's hard to hear in that chaos,
clip,
but you
yeah.
can definitely hear it if you're listening to it without two douchebags talking over it,
Yeah.
like we were. Also, Tucker. Well, so let me say this: Tucker wasn't home.
Tucker's the guy with the bow tie, right? He's always
He
on.
had a bow tie. I
oh,
missed the bow tie.
He doesn't do the bow tie.
He doesn't do the
anymore?
bow tie anymore.
Why?
I didn't ask him.
I mean, that's the important part.
That's true. Lead with the bow tie.
Lead
Tucker.
with the bow tie.
Tucker wasn't even home. His wife was home.
And his kids probably.
I believe his kids were home, but she hid in the She hid in the pantry, I believe.
That's small.
And called maybe Tucker's
They'll never
brother?
look in the pantry.
Never. But yeah, that's scary. You got an angry mob
Yeah, it's not cool.
outside your house chanting, "We know where you sleep at night." One of them mentions a mail bomb.
Yeah.
They do something to your front door that breaks
Did
it.
did he do some sort of broadcast or some recent topic come up that he said something that was crazy or something?
You're asking why was he sexually assaulted because of what he was wearing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So the answer is yes. Yes, he talked about on his show, he talked about something controversial because that's what he does on every show.
Right, but
100% of all shows. I don't think he did anything special.
right. Yeah. I mean, if they broke and enter into the house, I guess you can peacefully gather wherever you want.
Not on someone's front lawn.
But were they on the street or on the lawn?
No, they were on the lawn, bruh.
On the lawn?
Look, they broke his door.
Yeah, dude.
They're there. They're right there. Now, they're in this footage, they're not at the door.
That's when you...
They are on his property.
I mean, those people are just like strengthening gun right people's argument. Of like, that's when I get my shotgun, son. I go out there with five, and I kind of, right? Like someone shows up on my lawn.
Yeah.
I got a crowbar under my bed.
That's good.
It might be too heavy for me though.
But it's threatening.
Yeah, dude, I can say that I have a crowbar. That's fucked up, man. Can't do it.
No, you can't
do it. You can't do it.
You can't show up to people's house.
You can't do that. That's
threatening them, threatening their wife.
Yeah.
Like his wife probably has nothing to do with what he does. She may even have different political beliefs.
Yeah.
After that, a few days after, he was at some kind of event or party, and someone came up. There's footage of it. I didn't have time to grab it, but they insulted his 19-year-old daughter.
Said right to his face.
Called her a whore or a right wing. I believe the word whore was involved. Whatever. And then Tucker got involved, and then that's when the cameras start rolling. But it's a hard to watch video. It's very crowded.
Yeah.
You can just kind of see that Tucker is upset. It's kind of the back of his head, but people are going after him, man. Also, not cool to go up and yell at his daughter at a party.
Not cool. I mean, as a centralist myself.
Hey, centrist. Radical
centrist. I feel like anything extreme on either side is not real productive.
No.
Not real productive. It's like tug of war. It's just going to pull back and forth. And not only is it not productive in the moment, it doesn't help the overall cause. It doesn't help anybody on the right want to work with anybody on the left.
Yeah.
And it makes everybody more defensive. It makes everybody have their guard up. And also that's just plain dangerous. Like hopefully the cops got called and those people got arrested. They should have been arrested.
Yeah. I don't know if they got arrested or not. I think they may have gotten out.
That's why I have a dog.
There you go.
Dude, my dog's got the bark. I love it.
Yeah, and then your dog goes out there and mingles with them and comes back and he's wearing a beret.
Right. He's got a sign.
Right. And he's like, but see, socialism's got a bad name.
Dude, people are scared of dogs, man. Like it's kind of convenient. Like I get a lot less people knocking on my door than I used to when they just hear a dog bark outside. And my dog would never hurt anybody. But it's nice. Sometimes
Dude,
it's just one less conversation to have.
At the new house I'm trying to buy, the next door neighbor has a dog in the backyard, and I believe it's a German Shepherd. I didn't get a good look at it, but it's got one of those really loud barks. And Kelly was like, "Oh man, our neighbor has a barking dog," and I was like, "That's amazing. That's the best thing ever, because if anyone gets in our backyard,
yeah,
that dog is a better deterrent than a burglar alarm."
For sure. I mean, hopefully, I think you would just choose another house. You just There's no reason. Like if there's all these houses, you know, unless you've like scoped this one out, but if you have, know there's a dog there.
Right.
But like, yeah, first thing they do is bark and
Draw
they
attention.
might bite the shit out of your dick. You know, careful of your junk, bro. My dog is dick trained, right to
What?
right dick bite, right in your junk.
I had an ex that was all. Never mind.
Sick balls.
Chopper sick. Oh wow.
I just want to let you guys know that nobody did get arrested, but they are investigating it as a hate crime.
Ah, no one. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I get your like.
There's
I
got to be
get-
consequences for that, man.
Yeah, I get you don't like his politics, and I don't disagree with you overall. I don't really listen to the guy very much, but you can't show up on somebody's lawn, man. That's not fucking cool. It's not
No,
cool.
and what? Yeah, and I think you're right when you said what that does is it causes people to say, "Well, I would just get my gun
Yeah.
or my weapon or whatever," and then that's how those things start. That's how that's how you get someone in the crowd being like, "Well, I got a gun and he pulled a gun. We were
Right.
just there protesting.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're in the right."
Yeah.
And then you've got a gunfight or a crowbar fight
A crowbar
or whatever the hell it is. It's like you're just asking for trouble. And as we were talking about last week, the problem with Antifa is that it's very decentralized.
What do you mean?
You know, like there's no central leader, there's no bylaws.
Oh,
it's a pockets of groups. It's not one
it's
cohesive
like 12
group.
monkeys, bro.
Yeah, well, right. Like you and I could just call ourselves Antifa and we're suddenly Antifa.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pin them down. It's hard to take them out.
Yeah,
if
they
that
don't
makes
ever
sense.
take responsibility of things. That's
Right.
yeah. Well, I really would be interested in what Tucker's last broadcast was that triggered it, because it sounds like it was something that was triggered by something. I don't. Can you look that up,
Blaming
Zach? Maybe.
blaming the victim. It was triggered by the fact that he's Tucker Carlson and he's
Yeah,
a
but
Fox
I
News
mean-
golden boy and they didn't like it.
But like what you said though, he has controversial topics every week, every day,
Right.
and he doesn't get protested every day.
Controversial to them.
You know, like did he invent the MAGA build a wall Legos? And if he did, then he was asking for it.
No.
You know.
No. Man, this reminds me of a story that's somewhat unrelated, but when I was maybe 19 years old, I waited tables at Red Lobster, and me and my buddies from work, we all got off work, and we were going to go party at one of the guys' his house. It was
Yeah.
a rent house or whatever. So we all leave work. We're still in uniform and everything. And this uniform, at the time, Red Lobster had made all their servers wear these, they look like Hawaiian shirts. Like they were big, kind of flowery and very colorful, bright colors. But instead of flowers, they had fish imprints on them.
All right.
And they looked really ridiculous, and everyone was always embarrassed to wear them, but that was the uniform. So we all leave work, we go to this guy's house, and the guy's like, "Man, I locked myself out. I got to climb in the window." And we're like, "All right, cool, that happens." So we go around to the side window, and we're like helping him take the screen off. We're helping him boost him up to the window. And suddenly this neighbor comes out, and it's late. We're off work. It's midnight.
Oh wow.
He starts screaming.
Damn.
Like screaming, and we turn around and we see this fat bald guy literally in nothing but whitey tighties. He looked like Carl from the neighbor from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but just in whitey tighties, and he's got a gun.
Hacking, dude.
He's got a gun and he's pointing it at our face and screaming at us to get away from the window. And he's doing it in such a way that like he can't even hold the gun
He's so
straight.
scared.
He's just doing that and just being very aggressive. And we're trying to calm him down and
Right.
be like, "Dude, he lives here.
Right.
He lives here. We're helping him." He thought we were burglars, but he wouldn't calm down. He wouldn't stop screaming. And my immediate thought, other than fearing for my life,
Right.
because this guy wasn't sure if he was going to shoot us or what.
Right.
He was a maniac. But I'm thinking, what kind of burglars wear Hawaiian fish shirts in unison?
It's what do they? It's like that was their trademark. They're like a trademark burglars,
Right.
The Hawaiian hoodlums.
We're like some kind of West Side Story gang, but somehow even gayer than that.
Yeah. Oh no.
And this guy, and he under no circumstances would he listen. And even when he put the gun to his side and walked away,
How did you get him to do that?
I think he just screamed himself out. I don't really remember.
What was he screaming? Get away! Get away!
Yeah, like don't be fucking breaking into this. Just basically accusing us of trying to break in.
Yeah. And he didn't
And-
recognize his neighbor.
And he told us to go. Yeah, I don't know. I guess not. And he kept telling
picking
us
your
to go
story apart,
away.
Ray.
I know. It's like 20 years old. And he eventually left. And when he was left, he was still screaming and calling us names.
Wow.
Like, wait a minute,
Just as
dude.
he walked away, motherfucker.
You could have come out and, first of all, you could have done some general deduction and been like, oh, these guys probably aren't robbing the place. They look like Hawaiian clowns.
You should have thrown him some cheddar biscuits. He probably would have been fine.
Second of all, he could have put some pants on. Yeah. Third of all, he could have asked or even just called the police. I would have accepted that. Oh, yeah, I saw some kids going in the window. The police show up, and my work buddy goes, well, look, I live here.
Right.
Here's my ID or whatever it is.
Dude, the bravery, though, that guy went out there with a gun, he's a good neighbor. It's not even his house. He's like getting all upset about his neighbor's house.
I think that guy was to me, he came across as a gun lover who was like,
this is it.
This is
it.
I won't start it, but I'll finish it.
Yeah.
One of those guys.
Yeah.
Who were like, well, even when you say that, you're starting it.
Dude.
Because that's a threat.
I don't know how long we want to do on this topic, but I have a story like that one time when I was a kid. I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, and I got up, and it was like dark in the middle of the night. And we used to live in New Hampshire, and we had this like long hallway, and my bedroom's at the end of the hallway. My parents' is like a little bit closer to the bathroom, and the bathroom's at the end of the hallway. And I get up, and I'm like 8 or 9. I get up out of the bed, and I walk down to in the dark, I walk down the hallway, and I'm like kind of stumbling because I'm tired. And then out of nowhere, my dad's bedroom door like kicks open, it flies open, and I just see my dad jump out of the hallway like this, and he runs and he grabs me and he smashes me up against the wall. And I was like so petrified, I peed my pants right there.
How old are you?
7 or 8.
Okay.
And then he was just like ready to kill me. And then he looked and he saw who it was, and then just this pure look of like he was so upset that he could see how scared I was, but he thought I was a burglar, and he just came out like ready to kill with bare hands. And I was like,
what, a 3-foot burglar?
Well, he couldn't see because it was dark, so all he heard was something bumping around, and it was down the hall. So it was like, I don't know. My dad wears glasses, and he didn't, but he was also in straight up whitey tighties,
Oh, God.
no shirt or anything. So he just comes, and my dad's sort of a bigger dude, and just like that urge to protect your family and stuff was like, I hope I could be that brave in the moment, but like I just straight up peed my pants right there, and it was like he was so sorry about it. It's funny. If you're listening, Dad, no hard feelings, bro.
And when was this? A few weeks ago?
Yeah, this happened last week.
Okay. Well,
it was crazy, man.
I'm impressed by your dad's attempt to protect, his family from his family.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so there that was. So what was the deal?
There was no specific segment, but they just said it was because of him promoting hate and an ideology that has led to thousands of people dying. But then he responded by saying, that's not a protest, that's a threat.
Clap back.
Snap.
Clap back.
All right, buddy. I think you know.
Hey.
All right.
Make it or break it.
What are we playing today? We playing Make It or Break It?
Or Sex is Like?
Or Sex
We
is...
better get a Sex is Like sound bite so we can just play that.
Okay.
I think the audience likes Sex is Like. They were playing along last week. It was pretty fun to watch.
Okay. Well, sometimes I fail at Sex is Like. It depends on how sharp I am on the day.
Oh, how you feeling?
I'm feeling at about a 4 today.
Should we play? We haven't played Make It or Break It in a while. We could do that.
We can play Make It or Break It. Okay. All right. We'll play Make It or Break It.
Make It or Break It.
Guys, you at home, you know how this game is played. We don't play it every week anymore, but we used to. So Make It or Break It is this game where I introduce Lloyd to a fictional scenario in which he has this fictional romantic partner, and he has to decide based on these variables I introduce whether he wants to make it work or break it off. I love how I introduce that like it's a word math problem.
Like it's super difficult to understand.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Make It or Break It, Lloyd. You have been dating this perfect woman for 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
All right.
And she suddenly reveals to you that she is trans age, that she's actually 39 years old, and she claims to be 29 years old. And she is fighting for the right to change the law so that everyone can be trans age.
How's the sex?
It's average.
Oh, she's gone.
Done.
She's gone.
She is done.
I don't know. Just
You sure don't hump like a 39-year-old. Hump like you're 12.
no,
Oh, wait,
no,
what?
no,
Damn
no.
it.
What? Whoa,
Sorry.
whoa, whoa. Oh, geez. I don't. If she said she was 29, she's actually 39. I don't care how old she was. But you know what? I think I would have snipped that out long before
Oh,
she
yeah.
told me the. Like, I'm gonna tell how that is by her shoes. If she's got like insoles and like cushy shoes, which she definitely is gonna have if she's 39, because I have it. Then I'll be like, that's not the shoes of a 29-year-old. Also, if she doesn't want to go to the club, but maybe that's why she's changing her name, because she still wants to go to the club and she's 39, and that's weird.
Well, the thing is, you definitely don't. You would know. You'd be able to sniff that out way before.
Yeah.
Because people aren't usually crazy in one area.
Does she
like
eat
they're
a lot
crazy
of-
in a lot of areas.
Yeah. Does she eat a lot of oatmeal?
And drink a lot of prune juice.
Yeah.
But claims she's 29.
No way. She's eating Tostitos and fucking, like cinnamon toast crunch when she's 29.
Well, I would break it off.
Yeah.
Because she's a liar.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You are not 29 years old.
Yeah.
I get that this is, you're fighting for this right to change the whole trans age thing, but I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
Like,
go
how are you ever supposed to go on a date? I'll meet you at 7. What do you identify as 7?
right. I identify as 7 a.m.
Yeah. It's
Get
never
outta
going to
here.
work. It's never going to work.
I identify as living in mountain time.
You're always late. I identify with being on time.
Yeah.
People are.
I identify as being single.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry.
There it is, and it comes to a close. What about you guys? Make it or break it. Man or woman identifies as being
Trans-aged.
younger than they actually are.
Gross.
A lot of break-its, I can tell you guys.
Lot of
break-its.
break-its. Lot of break-its. Okay. All right. So we've got some high schoolers who
man,
got in
I
a
read
little
about
bit of
this.
trouble. The
I
story's
read about
crazy.
this.
Because they threw they were taking a junior prom photo and they threw up a Nazi salute.
Yeah.
Let's get a nice little look at that photo here.
I hate this.
Do you? All
I
right.
hate it.
All right. It's hard. It's kind of hard to see there, but you can see it. Let me maybe I can get a bigger one really quick. There we go. So that's full screen. But you can see it there. You can see the whole Nazi salute. Most of them are doing it. Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah. How bad is it for the one kid in the middle? Like, I don't want to do this, and doesn't. Like there's a kid in
You think he gets beat up after school?
No, I mean not even about whether he gets beat up, but he's just associated with that whole group of kids.
Right.
He's in the photo. Maybe it's better for him because he can continually point to himself, being like, "Look me,
Right.
not doing
I didn't
it."
do it. So this happened in Wisconsin in Baraboo High School.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they interviewed the photographer, and the photographer said he only told them to wave goodbye to their parents. And what you're seeing is not a Nazi salute, but instead it's various stages of waving.
That
which
is bullshit.
I don't necessarily believe that. He might believe that.
That is bullshit.
But I don't necessarily believe that. I believe these kids knew what they were doing.
Yes.
I don't wave like that. I don't.
No.
I don't wave. I don't know.
There was some other tweets and stuff dug up from some of the kids in this class. There were some pretty racist comments on their Snapchats about dirty Mexicans, and there was some, like, immediately after this photo came out, a bunch of other kids in that class talked about kids in this photo and some of the language they use and some of the behavior that they're displaying
saw that.
inside of school. And that
one of them was like, "We even got the black kid to do it." That was a comment.
to throw it up.
To throw it up,
To
right?
throw it up.
Meaning it wasn't a wave.
Right. That's fucked up. That is a messed up photo.
But I don't know if the photographer was necessarily in on it as much as these
If
kids
the
are trying to be-
photographer's response is it's a wave,
Yeah.
and it's not why the heck he posted that photo on his website. The photographer
Oh,
posted
God.
it on his website.
Okay, that's a problem.
And if his response was anything other than "I've deleted this photo, I'm extremely embarrassed, can't believe this happened," if it's anything other than that, then he's lying.
Wow.
That's my take on it. And because these kids are juniors, which is like debatable on men. These are young men.
Yeah.
But also young.
They're teenagers.
Yeah, young and dumb. This guy's a photographer now, and he's like the guy in charge of like maybe he said to do that. Also if they did that and he didn't come from behind the camera, like what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's not wave.
Yeah.
Let's not.
What
wave.
are you guys doing?
Maybe a peace symbol.
That's just disgusting to me. I hate it.
Yeah, they got in some serious trouble there. The news stories I watched on it were so funny because they were like, they said, the local authorities are investigating and all this stuff. And that's where I kind of have a problem. Why are the local authorities wasting their time investigating this photo? What are they going to do? What are the local authorities going to do? Say, oh, you can't make Nazi salutes? Legally, you can.
Yeah.
Legally, you can.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell they're trying to investigate. I mean, teenage boys being, knuckleheads. Although a very offensive version of a knucklehead. But why are you getting the police involved in this? Discipline the kids for being kids.
Can you expel all of them?
And then move on.
I mean, I don't want that to happen. I just wonder, what do you do? Do you expel them?
You could. Expulsion. That
sensitivity
seems a lot.
training. I mean, because I heard like the local the local Jewish association, I'm sorry, like in the town, like responded to this, and like there's like a museum and stuff in that town, or like in the area, maybe it's like Milwaukee or the nearby city or something. And like I feel like those kids should need to go take sensitivity training from that and be like, it's because it's so much distance between people. Feel like, I mean, World War II was a long time ago, and for these kids, a lifetimes ago.
Oh
and
yeah, 40 years between when they were born and when the Nazis were
longer
around.
than that.
Yeah, I mean,
longer than that.
I can't do math. I'm
almost 80 years, I would say.
I'm trans arithmetic.
But
it's 80 years.
Wait,
so the Nazis
45,
40, yeah,
45.
So, when were these kids? But they weren't born in 85, so maybe 50 years.
Yeah. So even still, like
55 years.
It's just so long ago for them
that
they don't understand that the pain connected, and we're a generation now that hasn't ever seen a war on like at the magnitude of anything like World War II. Not even close.
Yeah.
Not Vietnam, the closest thing to it, and still nowhere near what World War II was. And these kids haven't seen any of that.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to understand it without, going and seeing Auschwitz or going and seeing or talking to somebody. But
they just know it's
unacceptable
wrong.
to do
they
that.
know it's wrong. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah. And this is coming from a guy who played Adolf Hitler in 3 rap battles. But the difference is I'm playing a historical character and I'm using jokes in the context, and we kill him at the end, and we understand the gravity of that. But it's partially because of politics right now. We don't really do the Hitler battles when we do live shows very much anymore.
How come?
Because it just doesn't feel right. Maybe it will again. We've done it before. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know why. Because of what's going on, and because there's so much. There's a lot of hate in the United States right now. There's a lot of this shit going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? God forbid somebody saw a video I was in and thought that was funny.
But do I think this picture is funny?
Yeah.
Well, if you're a 16-year-old male, you might think this is funny. I mean, obviously, they got almost the whole class to do it.
Yeah, but like, there's such a difference between portraying a character. This is in my mind, at least. There's a difference between doing portraying a character from history and writing jokes about it. That are in the context of the character, and doing this, like, you're not in costume, you're a bunch of white kids,
you're at a public high
school, you're at your prom, it just doesn't seem. And this is like, how do they all know to do this together?
Well, they coordinated somehow, and they probably thought it was the most brilliant plan ever.
Oh, God.
I mean, like that one guy tweeted, they even got the black kid to throw it up.
Yeah.
So this was definitely a coordinated effort among some of the guys in the class. And yeah, it was a big deal in that town. Like, afterwards, after the story came out, people met on those steps to celebrate unity, and they brought rainbow flags. Like, this was a huge deal.
Well, that's why I was
way
saying
bigger deal than I would have made of it.
Well, no, I think they're doing the right thing. Like, I think the people of that town and that community want to say, hey, this is not what we're all about. And I don't know what the population of Baraboo, Wisconsin is, but I mean,
sounds huge.
Massive. Second only to Bugaboo.
Bugaboo.
Booty Boo. Yeah, but I do like that they did that. I think that shows who they are as a community, and that they're, there was a bunch of people, they had the rainbow flag, but there was a bunch of people making the heart symbol and just being like, everybody's welcome here. Because that's what that says. This white power shit says, you're not welcome here. We don't want you here. We hate you because of what you look like or what your religion is or whatever. And it was nice to see the rest of the town come out and say, no, that's just a shitty picture that a bunch of dumb kids took, and that's not who we are.
That became a national news story.
Yeah.
By the way, I have this idea for you. I think you should go out and do some of these rap battles like on the street, or just sign up for competitions and do those kind of rap battles and everything. But, go dressed like Hitler.
Yeah.
Just do it completely out of context.
Yeah.
Completely out of the historical context, and just go and be like, I would like to battle, and get up there and do it and see how it goes.
Yeah. I'll probably
go viral.
I'll get kicked out of Carmine's for sure.
You get kicked, right? Or it could go viral like this did.
Yeah.
It could be great, man. That could be huge.
Jeez.
No kidding. Let me get this
Get in line,
ridiculous picture off the
Population is
screen.
about 12,000.
What's that?
Population of Baraboo is about 12,000.
Baraboo. Oh, wow.
It's a pretty big class for only, 12,000. I can't tell if that's big or not. Yeah.
12,000? That's not big.
it's small. I was in Minneapolis.
That's like a suburb or
yeah,
something.
it must be a tiny town. Not tiny, but small.
You were what?
I was in Minneapolis this past weekend, and the population of Minneapolis is like 400,000 people. That was way smaller than I thought. I guess St. Paul and Minneapolis, and if you include all the surrounding areas, is a little bit over 1 million or so. But like the proper Minneapolis is like 400,000 people or less, which seems way smaller than I thought. But I guess
that is small.
The tundra up there. It was cold.
How cold was it?
So cold, my baby balls.
Okay, we're done.
Okay,
we're done. All right. Did you hear about this Victoria's Secret thing? So
no,
they had to apologize for allegedly rejecting trans women in one of their shows. I got a lot to say about this. What did you hear?
I didn't hear anything. Only the thing you sent me.
Okay, so it was the all right, let me find my notes because it's kind of a complex story. So it was this guy Ed Razek. He is the chief marketing officer for Victoria's Secret parent company. And he basically said he didn't think transgender models should walk in the fashion show when he was asked about it in an interview. They basically said, how come they didn't have any transsexuals or why didn't they have any transgender models in their recent fashion show, their big one? And he said he didn't think the fashion show should feature transsexuals, which is apparently a word that's out of date. I got to get up to date on that. He said Victoria's Secret show shouldn't feature transsexuals because, quote, the show is a fantasy. He said it's a 42-minute entertainment special. That's what it is. It is the only one of its kind in the world, and any other fashion brand in the world would take it in a minute, including the competitors that are carping at us. And he also said that they had considered casting both transgender models and plus-size models for a show in the past. And he said, we market to who we sell to, and we don't market to the whole world. We attempted to do a television special for plus sizes back in 2000, but no one had any interest in it, and they still don't.
Wow, very honest of him.
Yeah, it was very straightforward, but also the two things that are mixing here and conflicting are wanting to be politically correct and making a business decision.
Right. Yeah, back in 2000, that even seems like a long time ago to be doing something like that. That seems like a lifetime ago. Probably they should try that again if he wants to make a statement like that. Like I appreciate his candor.
I kind of do too.
I appreciate
He's also like 60-something years old, so
yeah,
he's gonna talk like that.
I appreciate his candor. And my question is, like, if someone's transgendered, why should you be able to tell when they're, like you're supposed to look? Are you supposed to look different than male or female and be a third thing? Like, aren't you supposed to try to look as accurate as possible? Like, I don't. Why can you ask if you're not allowed to ask someone's sex or sexual preference at a job or at an interview or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Why can you ask a question like that and not be held to the same fire? What if he doesn't? What if he's like, you know what? I don't ask any of the models that are in our show what their sex or gender is.
Right.
I don't feel it's appropriate to ask them. So honestly, it's none of my business.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would have been what he should have said.
That would have been gangster. Agreed. But what he actually said was probably how they really feel.
Yeah.
Which is we don't put transgender in the show and we don't put big women in the show or whatever because that's not who we're marketing to and it doesn't necessarily
bad for business.
sell.
Yeah.
Which is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. And as a business owner myself, I get it when you have to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It really does suck, but he's probably not wrong. And there's how many models do you think they have in that show? Well, sorry, let's talk about being a model in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you a model?
Yeah, well, no.
Zach, how long have you been modeling?
Never.
Never. Okay. I'm also not a model.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be a model.
Yeah.
Even if you're white, upper middle class, privileged as hell, from the richest neighborhood, nothing will guarantee that you can model in any respect.
Yes.
Whatsoever. So the fact that he has to explain, why certain groups aren't allowed to model can easily be fended off by saying, look, not everyone can do it. It's based on these arbitrary standards of beauty.
Yeah, I hear that, but there's a very clear pushback to that, which says you are the standard that's setting what the model for beauty is. By being Victoria's Secret, you are what people see, and you are the images that they grow up with. Therefore, you're defining the beauty as the industry. And so if you don't change what people see, you won't change what they think can be. So if you exclude a certain type of people from their catalog over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, people start to think that that's not beautiful. And so then that's what their definition of beautiful is. So there's a certain level of responsibility as the business owner to lead the way on certain levels like that.
Sure, but if something doesn't sell, so if you're making red t-shirts and you're making blue t-shirts and you're selling both and the blue t-shirts don't sell,
right?
I mean, are you going to keep stocking more and more and more?
Well, it depends on the type of business that you want to be.
Your t-shirt company.
Yeah, right. But like, there's ethics. They teach ethics, and also like things don't sell right away, but you give it time. You know, it's like it's you give it amount. You give it, and I don't like forcing anybody's hand in business. And the guy can do what he wants. But this is the argument that I would make as this person to the Victoria's Secret guy. Plus size models aren't maybe not as desirable right away, but people aren't used to seeing it. So they're not going to Victoria's Secret to buy these things because they're not used to looking there, because they never would think to look there because that's Victoria's Secret model. But you give it time and people start to go as a destination there to see things that will fit them, for people that look like them. And that will take time. And if he says he did that way back in 2000, they did it once.
And he said no one cared.
Yeah, that's 18 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, how different are we? That is a long time ago. And I think if they had stayed doing it, and I also think that might be a convenient thing for him to point to and then just be like, fuck it. It happened. But I would challenge that guy with that argument and say, like, look, man, you're defining what people think is beautiful. Like, there's a model now and she's gorgeous and she's I think she's black, but she has skin pigmentation where she's got
vitiligo.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And she's very popular and it's beautiful, her skin like that. But I don't think in 2000 probably wouldn't be. And the culture of our culture has changed. Like we're in a culture of sort of like nerds and cosplay and all that kind of stuff has won, and people much more accepting than they used to be back in the day. Much more body conscious and stuff. So I think it's weird to ask, and I think if he wanted to say I don't know, that would have been totally fine. And I don't weigh my models, actually.
Right.
I think that would have been kind of a gangster thing to say.
Right.
But I do think they could benefit by showing different people in there and showing different types of beauty if they can.
I mean, I don't fault them for making a business decision.
Yeah.
For sure, even if it hurts people's feelings. But, welcome to the world of modeling where nearly everyone who tries it gets their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Because either they don't make it or they age out of it in 3 years.
Right.
But you bring up another good point, which is if you're an interviewer and you're asking that question, you're trying to get a soundbite out of the guy because, especially on the spot, you're asking a nearly 70-year-old man this thing that is going to get a rise out of. There's no good answer for him.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there on the spot, you would really have to sit down with some kind of PR company and come up with some kind of response to that. He probably wasn't expecting it.
That's kind of his bad though.
What's your soundbite going to be? What, you're an interviewer, you sit down, you ask all these questions, and then you go, "So Lloyd, how come there's no transgender working at your company?"
Yeah.
It's hard. You're
it's tough.
Shit, I never thought about that. Was never presented with that opportunity.
Yeah.
I didn't
And maybe
necessarily discriminate, but you know what? I'm not going to go out of my way to look for that.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely legit. That's valid. And there's, like, we talked about this too, like casting a straight woman to play the role of a transgendered person, because how many transgender actors are there out there that are actually at the same level of quality actor as Scarlett Johansson or where we talk about?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure there are far fewer transgendered people. And this is the other thing that a lot of folks, and I'm sure there's remedies to this, but like not everybody has the money to spend on surgeries that Bruce Jenner does or Caitlyn Jenner does. So like if you're trans, it's not always like picture perfect. You know what I'm saying? And God love it, but that's the facts. That shit is expensive. There's surgeries involved. There's hormones involved. There's years of, whatever your insurance is, and whether or not that should be covered is a completely different conversation. But I don't think there are probably a plethora of transgendered models out there. But then it does go back to the argument of they don't feel like it's even a viable path because they don't see it anywhere. So it's like if you're living in the South in 1920 and you're black, you're like, I can't go on this bus. There's never any black people on that bus. But then you start to see black people on that bus and you feel like, oh, I can go on this bus. And maybe you're not the first, maybe you're not Rosa Parks, who's the first person or anybody in that whole civil rights movement who's like, we're going to make this happen. But it does affect you as a person who is living in the world, So
Sure, but to add to that story, they got their way because they boycotted in Montgomery, and it actually hurt the bus's business. So at some point, the bus lines had to make another business decision and go, we need to make money.
Sure.
We need all passengers on this bus, and they all need to sit wherever they want.
Well, dude, I think that probably not with transgender, but I think if every woman who was plus sized or, not model sized boycotted Victoria's Secret until they showed more realistic looking models, that would have a great effect on Victoria's Secret.
I'm going to boycott Victoria's Secret because they don't have any short models.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
Yeah.
There are no short male models, and I feel like that discriminates against me.
We're only years away from that, Ray, and so that's just what we have to use.
I identify as a tall guy, and I feel personally attacked by Victoria's Secret's decision to discriminate against me.
Yeah.
I also identify as a supermodel, so there's that. And they should accept me.
Yeah. Well,
no, I don't want to make this about ragging on transgender or anything, which it never is, but I feel like when I when I edit this and chop it up into a segment, I want to make sure that that's clear for people who've never listened to us before.
No,
But I don't disagree with what that guy was saying. As a business owner, you have to make crappy decisions like that where you go, oh man,
yeah,
I can't sell something that people aren't buying.
There's no market for it.
Yeah,
but
people are not buying.
Yeah,
you're saying create the market.
I'm saying if you're in the body image business, what do you want to do as a business? What kind of a business do you want to be? And you have if they're as successful as they're saying, people are clamoring for their thing. If you're the leader in the market, you don't have to. But you can choose to take some responsibility and to have an effect on the world and the society that you are imprinting your product onto. So I think that, it's just like in the NFL, like you don't have to make players okay to kneel. It's just cooler to do that. You just that would be my argument to the guys. Like,
Yeah, but
I'm sure he didn't show up there in a Toyota Civic. You know what I mean? It's not like they're starving for money.
But if you're bad at the game, you don't get into the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm not saying transgender are bad or anything like that, but like if you're not going to make them money by playing the game right,
Right.
you're not getting in.
But let's be honest.
I identify as an NBA player.
Yeah, people are buying lingerie because sex sells, but
Yes.
I do think that like
And sex
look
is
at
subjective.
porn. Look at porn.
I
Let's
do as often as possible.
But there's a market for plus size women in porn and transgendered people in porn. There is
it's a whole category.
Exactly. And that's a fantasy just as much as anything else is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that proves the point that there is a market for it if people know it's there. And it doesn't have to be the same budget. It doesn't have to be whatever. It doesn't have to be
Like a niche market.
Yeah,
This is
I
our
don't know.
trans catalog.
See what happens. I think trans is a lot for me. The trans issue is a lot more difficult to deal with business wise than the plus size model thing. And by plus size, when you're talking about what a model looks like, I mean plus size is like normal. You know what I mean?
Like average,
just normal.
Average American.
Yeah, and I do feel like Victoria's Secret has done a lot of sort of like more body positive stuff.
Yeah.
The transgendered thing is because if you can tell just by looking, isn't that sort of beside the point? Isn't that sort of like
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. And I wonder, so imagine these models are walking up and down the catwalk and everything. How do you know there's a transgender one in there?
That's what I'm saying.
And next up, we have Nicole. If you look down 2 inches from her face, you'll see her bulge. Just hanging out with a bulge.
Or is transgendered someone who's just like a male who identifies as a woman who hasn't had surgery or whatever, so it's very obviously a man dressed as a woman. But then it's like that's a different thing. It's a different thing.
Well, maybe they announce it as they're walking the runway.
I mean, I bet you 95% of all drag shows have those guys shop at Victoria's Secret. You know what I mean? Like they could have a Victoria's Secret drag show all day and it would probably crush.
I met a guy whose entire online company was selling women's shoes for men's size feet.
Yeah.
And his entire clientele were drag queens, all of them. So basically pumps in size 12 for men.
Yeah.
There was a niche market there and he grabbed it.
Yeah, right.
He grabbed it by the tucked in genitals. And was killing it. He was making a lot of money.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, he would just ship them pumps. He would just make them.
Pump it up. Funny.
Okay, man.
Wow.
I think it is about time.
Oh, we've done it.
No, we got through it.
We did.
Okay, so this is part of the show every week where we crown a king. Let's see, who do we got this week? We got the Dutch man who tried to change his age from 69 to 49, the trans age man. We got the 2 Jewish women in MAGA hats who claim they were denied access to Carmine's restaurant. We have Shariko, the YouTuber who was banned for punching a woman in a video game. We have the Antifa mob who showed up at Tucker Carlson's house. We have the high schoolers who threw up the Nazi salute. And we have the Victoria's Secret exec who had to come back and apologize for his trans comment.
Who do we give the king to?
Yeah, who do we crown? That's a tough one, guys. What do you think of that?
This is like the shiniest of 2 turds right now. Who do we crown?
I'm not feeling anyone. Maybe we give it to Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, can we do that?
Why not?
Am I allowed?
I don't have an issue with Tucker all that much. He's just a pundit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. You really that against Tucker?
No, I mean, I just don't. It just feels weird.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of his. I don't particularly like his points of view. But there's not really not a lot of options. I definitely give the gesture to the group of freaking Nazi boys.
The teenagers?
The teenage Nazi boys. Like, what a bunch of dumb dicks.
Say, I give it to Antifa.
To Antifa?
Yeah, I'm not a fan, never have been a fan, but don't show up to people's house.
Yeah, it's
for
dangerous.
any reason other than you're delivering mail.
Yeah.
If you were not invited, don't go to someone's house.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made for that too. I think that's pretty scary stuff. Jeez. Oh, no. You know who I'm going to give it to? I'm giving it to Carmine's. I'm giving the Kings to Carmine's.
All right.
For their tweet about there was a 2-hour wait because it was Saturday, idiots.
Yeah. It was Saturday and they didn't have a reservation.
Yeah.
This is everyone gets treated this way.
Yeah. I'm giving it to Carmine's.
We're pretentious.
Take a ride,
to
ladies.
all walks of life.
Yeah. And maybe even specifically the maitre d', who hopefully was super snotty.
I hope he was French.
Yeah.
With a little mustache.
Yeah.
Wait at the bar.
Bruce
wait at the
Campbell
bar.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
and you are.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
That's it. Well, we
All
did
right,
it.
we did it. We got through episode, I believe this is 22. We are trucking right along.
22,
We've
you
been doing
guys.
this 6 months now.
I know. I can't believe it's gone by fast because I like it.
It's okay. It's all right.
Well, it's been good, and
We'll
thank you
see.
guys for watching every week. It's been awesome. Like I said, we're at the under 10K club, but we're quickly approaching like a little. Our kingdom is expanding,
growing.
And thanks to you guys for watching every week and listening, and for your comments. It really makes a big difference on what we do.
No kidding. Yeah, guys. We love you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. The individual. We got to talk after the show about starting a Discord and seeing what that looks like. I put some thought into that, and I think maybe we can.
Yeah.
I just don't want to run it. We just have to get someone to run it.
Like a comment section or like
Something like that.
Yeah, having a moderator or something.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys have ideas about that, leave them in the comments. And then also, if you want to get a text, like we said, once a week to let you know when we're going live, just text the word Kings to the number 43506, and Ray will send you a text. It's just like, hey, we're about to go live, and that's it. We don't advertise there or anything like that. It's just a really easy way to remember we're going live. So
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, stick around for the chat afterwards if you are listening to us live. And we love you.
yeah, thanks very much. I'm Epic Lloyd.
I'm Ray William Johnson.
Take care.
Hey, get up, get up, get up, get up. Yeah.